future chartered accountants. Hope you are doing good. Today we'll revise overseas direct investment, which is super important for our upcoming attempt. So let's get started. As the name suggests, overseas direct investments refer to the investments by an Indian entity outside India. This overseas investments can be in equity shares or compulsorily convertible preference shares of joint venture or wholly owned subsidiary outside India. It is just the exact opposite of foreign direct investment. First, let us understand these two terms, foreign direct investment and overseas direct investment. When a foreign entity invests in the equity shares of Indian company, then it is termed as foreign direct investment. But when the Indian company invests in the foreign company, then it is termed as overseas direct investments. RBI has issued certain set of regulations to regulate the acquisition and transfer of foreign security by a person resident in India. That is, this regulation will cover both the investments made by Indian entities and the investments made by resident individuals. Let us first understand the regulation from resident individual's point of view. It is given that the resident individual can invest in the equity shares or the compulsorily convertible preference shares of wholly owned subsidiary or the joint venture outside India within the overall limit prescribed by RBI under the liberalized remittance scheme, which we know is $250,000. Let us now see into the modes of direct investment outside India. Like we have seen in external commercial borrowings, there are two modes, that is automatic route and the approval route. Under the automatic route, certain conditions are there which the company needs to comply, and if the company complies with it, then it is not required to obtain the approval. And if that level is breached, then it will have to go under approval route. The limit here is 400% of net worth or $1 billion, whichever is less, which means that entity can invest up to 4 times of the net worth subject to the overall limit of $1 million. There is an important definition given in the regulation, which is of financial commitment. Financial commitment means the amount of direct investment by way of equity, loans, and 100% of guarantee and 50% of performance guarantee, which is given by the Indian party on behalf of the overseas joint venture or overseas wholly owned subsidiary. Here it is important to understand the term performance guarantee. Let us understand it with an example. Let's say Jio Limited has given a guarantee to its wholly owned subsidiary outside India that if it does not perform the contract in full, then it will be responsible for that. So this can be converted into actual guarantee. Since it is now not an actual guarantee, so they have taken a certain percentage, which is 50% here. Next topic is the requirement for investments. That is the criteria for overseas direct investment under automatic route. There are 3 requirements given here, which the Indian entity or resident individual needs to follow if they go under automatic route. The Indian party can invest up to the prescribed limit of its net worth in joint venture or wholly owned subsidiary. But this prescribed limit will not be applicable if the investment is made out of EEFC account or out of the funds raised through ADRs or GDRs. Secondly, the Indian party should not be on the RBI's exporters caution list or the list of defaulters of banking system published and circulated by the CIBIL, RBI or the Enforcement Directorate. And lastly, the Indian party routes all the transactions related to investment through only one branch of the authorized dealer. This was all about the automatic route where the Indian party has to approach authorized dealer with an application in form ODI. The investments in joint venture or wholly owned subsidiary can also be made through special purpose vehicles. Now let us see the approval route. Prior approval of RBI is required in this case. RBI will take into account certain factors while considering the application. There are 4 factors given here. Here RBI will check the credibility, that whether this investment should be made or not. The 4 points that RBI will take into considerations are: firstly, the viability of joint venture or wholly owned subsidiary outside India. Secondly, the contribution to external trade and the other benefits that will accrue to India through such investments. Thirdly, the financial position and the business track record of both Indian party and the foreign entity. And lastly, RBI will check the expertise and experience of Indian party in the same or related line of activity. Since 4 points are given, there is a high probability that ICAI may ask a 4-mark question from this point only. Under the approval route, the prior approval of RBI is required and the Indian party shall submit form ODI through authorized dealer category 1 bank. Next topic is the prohibition on direct investments. Firstly, it is said that these investments are prohibited, but then they say prior approval of RBI is required. Then why at all it was said that it is prohibited? But we'll have to learn as it is. Same type of prohibitions were also given in capital account transaction. There, persons resident outside India were prohibited from making investments in India in a company engaged in certain activities. And here we will see that persons resident in India are prohibited in making investments in some foreign entities, that is, entities engaged in real estate activities, trading in TDRs, or engaged in banking business. The second restriction is for overseas entity that has a direct or indirect equity participation by an Indian party. They are not allowed to offer financial products linked to rupee. And we come to the last topic, that is general permissions. General permission have been given to person resident in India for the purchase and acquisition of security in the following manner. Person resident in India can acquire securities out of the funds held in RFC account. Secondly, they can acquire securities as a bonus shares on existing holding. Thirdly, when the person resident in India was not permanently resident in India, they can acquire the securities out of the foreign currency resources which were held by them previously. This general permission is also available to sell those securities which have been earlier acquired by this means. So that is all for today's video. If you like the video, go hit the like button and make sure to subscribe.